Chosen one, why are you still awake right now? Why did something inside you whisper, "Don't close your eyes yet"? Why does your chest feel tight, like the air itself is holding its breath? Chosen one, listen to me carefully. You didn't accidentally click on this message. Heaven redirected your attention. Your spirit was summoned here by forces you can't see, but you absolutely feel. That restlessness coursing through you right now, that's not anxiety, that's recognition. Your soul knows what your mind is still catching up to. November 12th, 11:50 p.m. This is not a date, it's a divine coordinates. Before you were born, before the stars knew your name, this moment was encrypted into the fabric of your destiny. Heaven has been counting down to this night, not in years, but in the silent tears you cried when no one was watching. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every lonely midnight when you begged God for a sign, they weren't denials. They were deposits. And tonight, heaven cashes them all in. The veil between realms is paper thin right now. Time itself is pulsing like a heartbeat. You can feel it, can't you? That electric hum beneath your ribs. That's the frequency of angels aligning. The atmosphere is charged with prophetic electricity, and you are the lightning rod. Here's what they won't tell you in church. God doesn't move for the masses, He moves for the marked. And you've been marked since before the foundations of the world were laid. That's why you survived what should have destroyed you. That's why you're still standing when others folded. You weren't lucky. You were chosen. If your spirit is trembling right now, if tears are rising without reason, type 777 inches, the comments. Let heaven see your name written in digital light. This is your confirmation. This is your checkpoint. Before we go deeper, I want to honor something sacred. Thank you to every soul who has supported this message through super thanks. You're not just giving, you're sowing seeds into soil that heaven has already blessed. You're helping this light reach someone tonight who's on the edge, someone who needs to hear they're not forgotten. Whether you give or not, your presence here matters. Your time is worship. Your attention is intercession. Stay with me until 11:50. Don't scroll away. Don't pause. Something supernatural is about to break loose through this message. Something that will leave fingerprints on your life you'll still see in 5 years. The clock is ticking. Heaven is watching, and your name just echoed in the throne room. Let's begin. How many nights have you laid there, staring at the ceiling, wondering if God even remembers your name? How many times have you watched someone half your age get the breakthrough you've been begging for since before they were born? How long can faith survive when heaven's mailbox stays empty and your prayers seem to vanish into a void that doesn't echo back? Let me tell you something they don't preach from comfortable pulpits. The silence you've endured wasn't an accident. It was an assignment. And you, chosen one, you passed a test most people will never even face, because most people quit before heaven can prove what they're really made of. You've been faithful for decades. You've tithed when your bank account was gasping. You've prayed when your knees ached. You've believed when every logical bone in your body screamed at you to give up. And what did you get? Silence. Cold, crushing, relentless silence, while your neighbor got the promotion, while your friend's child got the miracle, while strangers testified about blessings that fell from the sky like rain. You stood there with empty hands and a heart that felt like it was bleeding out in slow motion. I know that pain. I've counseled men and women in their 70s and 80s who whispered to me through tears, "Pastor, I've been faithful my whole life. Where is God?" And here's what I told them. Here's what I'm telling you right now. And I need you to hear this not just with your ears, but with the marrow of your bones. Your silence was sacred. Habakkuk 2-3 says, "Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Not it might come, not maybe if you're lucky. It says it will certainly come. The Hebrew word there is bo. It means to enter in, to arrive with authority. Your blessing isn't tiptoeing toward you, it's marching. And every day of silence was another soldier added to its army. You think you've been forgotten? No, you've been fortified. Heaven doesn't waste time on people it doesn't trust with glory. And the depth of your silence matches the height of your coming elevation. God doesn't train spectators in the dark. He trains generals. He trains history makers. He trains the ones who will carry weight that would crush ordinary faith. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles." But here's what nobody tells you about that verse. Eagles don't fly in the sunshine. They soar in the storm. The very winds that ground every other bird become the eagle's elevator. Your silence wasn't the absence of God. It was the storm wind building beneath your wings. Every unanswered prayer wasn't ignored. It was invested, like a seed buried in frozen ground, invisible, seemingly dead, but germinating in the darkness where human eyes can't see and human logic can't compute. Farmers don't dig up seeds every week to check if they're growing. They trust the process, they trust the soil, they trust time. And you, dear one, you've been buried in divine soil, not forgotten in a grave. Here's the part that's going to wreck you. God trusted you with silence because he knew noise would distract you from destiny. Think about that. Really let it land. He didn't give you easy answers because easy answers create shallow faith. He didn't give you quick wins because quick wins create weak character. He gave you silence because silence forces you to choose. Will you believe me when you can't see me, hear me, or feel me? Will you love me when I give you nothing but my word and your own stubborn, holy refusal to let go? You passed that test. You're still here. That's not luck. That's Lionheart faith. And heaven has been watching. Recording. Documenting every tear that soaked your pillow. Every morning you got up and chose hope when despair was screaming louder. Every moment you whispered, "I still trust you," when trust felt like insanity. All of it, every second, was building an account in the realm of the spirit that's about to be cashed out with divine interest. The delay wasn't denial. It was divine incubation. And what's incubating in your life right now is so massive that if it had come earlier, it would have destroyed you. You weren't ready then, but you're ready now. Tested, tempered, toughened by fire that didn't burn you but refined you into pure gold. November 12th at 11:50 p.m. isn't random, it's release. Heaven's been holding back the flood because the dam had to be strong enough to handle it, and you weathered, weary but still standing. You're that dam. You're finally strong enough to carry what's been building behind the scenes. If you felt forgotten but you're still here, still fighting, still believing, even when belief feels like lifting mountains with your bare hands drop, I'm still here in the comments right now. Let heaven see you. Let the angels bear witness. Because your endurance just unlocked something in the spirit realm that impatience never could. The silence is about to shatter. And when it does, you're going to understand why it had to be this long, this hard, this heavy. Because what's coming isn't just an answer. It's an avalanche of answered prayers that waited for you to become who you needed to be to steward them. But here's the critical part you need to understand as we move forward. The silence was preparation. What happens at 11:50 p.m. is activation. You felt something shift on November 5th, didn't you? Maybe you couldn't name it. Maybe you told yourself it was nothing, just another restless night, just your mind playing tricks. But deep down, in that place where truth lives before words can reach it, you knew. Something cracked open in the invisible realm. A seal broke. A door that had been locked for decades suddenly trembled on its hinges. That was the awakening. But November 12th? November 12th is the activation. Listen closely. Heaven doesn't operate on accident. God doesn't randomly pick dates out of thin air like some cosmic lottery. Every number, every hour, every interval carries weight in the kingdom. And the distance between November 5th and November 12th? 7 days. Not 6, not 8, 7. You know what that means, don't you? Genesis 7:4. God speaks to Noah and says, "For in 7 days I will send rain upon the earth." 7 days, a countdown to transformation, a warning before the deluge, a grace period before everything changes. Noah had 7 days to prepare for the moment when heaven would open and pour out what had been held back since the beginning of time. You are living in your 7 days right now. The rain that's coming isn't water, it's warfare. It's the breakthrough you've been begging for. It's the provision that defied every natural law. It's the vindication for every humiliation you endured in silence. Heaven is about to open, and what pours out will reshape your reality so completely that you'll divide your life into 2 eras, before November 12th and after. But here's what most people miss. Here's the part that'll make your chest tighten if you're truly listening. Heaven wasn't waiting on you. Heaven was waiting for you. There's a difference, a massive one. God has been ready. The angels have been positioned. The resources have been allocated. The doors have been oiled. The table has been set. Everything you need has been staged in the invisible realm, wrapped and ready with your name written across it in fire. But heaven operates on one non-negotiable principle: readiness. Not worthiness, readiness. And for years, maybe decades, you weren't ready. Not because you were bad or broken, but because the weight of what's coming would have crushed the old version of you. Every rejection you faced, that was demolition work. God was tearing down the fragile infrastructure that couldn't hold your destiny. Every delay, every disappointment, every dark night when you screamed at the ceiling that was construction, heaven was building capacity inside you, widening your spirit, deepening your roots, strengthening your foundation. You think you've been waiting on God, but God's been preparing you. And now, after all the stripping, all the stretching, all the silent seasons when it felt like heaven went deaf, now you're ready. The internal architecture is complete, the foundation is solid, and at exactly 11:50 p.m. on November 12th, heaven leans close enough for you to feel its breath on your face. You want to know why 11:50? Because 11:50 is 10 minutes before midnight, 10 minutes before the day resets, 10 minutes before the page turns. It's the final moment of the old timeline, the last breath of what was before the new era begins. God is meeting you at the edge of transition. He's waiting for you in the space between yesterday and tomorrow, in that sacred sliver of time when both realms touch. That's not poetic. That's precision. Heaven's clock doesn't tick like yours does. It trembles. It vibrates with intention. Every second in the kingdom carries the weight of eternity. And when God highlights a specific time, it's not symbolic, it's strategic. Angels don't gather at random. Heavenly gates don't swing open on a whim. There are appointed times, scripted moments when the veil thins and miracles slip through. November 12th at 11:50 p.m. is one of those moments. But let me tell you what'll break your heart if you're not careful. This door won't stay open forever. Divine portals have windows. They open, they release, and they close. Not because God is cruel, but because heaven operates in seasons. And if you're distracted, if you're asleep, if you're scrolling through the noise of this world while heaven is calling your name, you'll miss it. You'll wake up on November 13th wondering why nothing changed. You'll blame God. You'll question your faith. But the truth, the door opened. You just weren't standing in front of it. So let me ask you something, and I need you to answer this honestly, even if no one else is in the room. Are you awake? Not physically, spiritually. Are you alert? Are you watching? Are you positioning yourself in faith? Or are you coasting through another week, hoping something magical happens while you sleep? Because here's the reality, nobody wants to say out loud, heaven rewards the vigilant. Jesus said it himself in Matthew 25, "Therefore stay awake, for you know neither the day nor the hour." The bridesmaids who had oil in their lamps got to enter the wedding feast. The ones who fell asleep, the door shut. And when they knocked, the voice from inside said, "I do not know you." That's not a bedtime story. That's a warning. God is not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be present. He's asking you to mark this moment, to write it down, to speak it into the atmosphere. I will be awake at 11:50 p.m. on November 12th. Because obedience is the key that unlocks heaven's door. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need a theology degree. You just need to show up. Faith isn't about knowing how God will move. It's about trusting that He will. And when you position yourself in faith, when you stand at attention while the rest of the world sleeps, heaven takes notice. So mark it. November 12th, 11:50 p.m. Set an alarm if you have to. Don't let this moment slip through your fingers like sand, because something ancient is about to break its seal. Something that's been locked in the vaults of heaven since before you took your first breath is about to be handed to you. This is your countdown. This is your 7 days, and the rain is coming. You know what's happening to you right now, don't you? That heaviness in your limbs, that overwhelming urge to close your eyes even though you're wide awake. That strange, sacred exhaustion wrapping around you like a blanket you didn't ask for but desperately need. Chosen one, listen closely, that's not fatigue. That's God administering divine anesthesia. Before heaven can open a portal for you, it must first open you, and that requires surgery. Not the kind performed in sterile hospitals under fluorescent lights, but the kind that happens in the unseen realm, where angels sharpen their instruments and the operating table is your very soul. You've been asking God, why do I feel so drained? Why can't I move forward? Why does everything feel so heavy? And heaven whispers back, because I'm preparing you for what you prayed for. The prophet Daniel knew this. Daniel chapter 10 read it. When this is over, describes the moment a divine messenger appeared to him. The Bible says Daniel lost all strength. His face turned deathly pale. He fell into a deep sleep, face to the ground. Was Daniel weak? No, he was being rewired. His human frequency couldn't handle the voltage of heaven's presence, so God had to slow him down, strip him down, open him up. That's what's happening to you tonight. You thought you were broken, but you're not broken, beloved. You're under construction. God is performing open-heart surgery on your spirit, removing the scar tissue of rejection, extracting the shrapnel of betrayal, replacing the valves clogged with doubt. And surgery requires you to be still. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and prove, not be loud and demand. Be still and know. Do you know what that word still means in the original Hebrew? Rapha. It means to let go, to release, to stop striving, to sink into surrender. It's the same word used when soldiers drop their weapons after a battle is won. The fight is over. Chosen one. Stop trying to save yourself. Heaven's got you on the table now. Right now, as you hear these words, your body is becoming heaven's operating room. The atmosphere around you is thick with the presence of unseen surgeons, angels assigned to your breakthrough, ministering spirits dispatched for your deliverance. They're not here to comfort you with false peace. They're here to reconstruct you for the weight of what's coming. Because here's the truth nobody told you. Glory has a weight. You can't carry tomorrow's blessing with yesterday's structure. Your old emotional framework, your outdated belief system, your exhausted coping mechanisms, they won't survive what God is about to release. So He has to renovate you first. He has to gut the house before He can rebuild it into a mansion. And that process, it feels like death. You've been calling it depression. Heaven calls it demolition. You've been calling it loneliness. God calls it isolation for transformation. You've been saying, I can't take this anymore. And Jesus is saying, good, now I can take over. Let me tell you something that's going to wreck you. What you called exhaustion was God preparing your nervous system for glory. You thought you were too tired to fight anymore, but God was upgrading your endurance. You thought you were losing your mind, but heaven was expanding your capacity. Every sleepless night was a download. Every tear was a baptism. Every moment you lay in bed, unable to move, that was divine anesthesia taking effect. Your body knew before your mind did. Your spirit understood what your logic couldn't process. You were being prepped for surgery, and surgery requires you to stop resisting. So let me ask you directly and answer honestly, even if only to yourself. Have you been feeling unusually tired lately, even when you've done nothing? Have random waves of emotion hit you out of nowhere, tears you can't explain, joy that makes no sense? Have you felt a strange pressure in your chest, like something is pressing down but not crushing you? That's not anxiety, beloved. That's the hand of God. That's the weight of divine presence resting on you, holding you down long enough to perform the procedure you've been begging him for. You prayed for a new heart. Did you think he could replace it while you were still running? You cried out for breakthrough. Did you think it would come without breaking through you first? Heaven doesn't renovate from the outside in. It starts in the hidden places, the secret chambers of your soul where shame lives, where fear has built a fortress, where disappointment has erected monuments. God is going in there tonight with divine dynamite. And when he detonates old structures, you feel it. That trembling, that's old walls cracking. That heaviness, that's dead weight being lifted. That tingling sensation crawling up your spine right now, those are angels rewiring your spiritual DNA. You are not the same person who started watching this message. Heaven has been working on you with every word, every second. The frequency of this moment is calibrated to your breakthrough. The very sound of these words carries divine instruction, activating receptors in your spirit that have been dormant for decades. And here's what most pastors won't tell you because it sounds too mystical, too dangerous, too raw. God operates without permission once you've given him access. You said yes to him years ago. Maybe it was at an altar. Maybe it was in a car on a Tuesday afternoon when you hit rock bottom. Maybe it was in a whisper so quiet even you barely heard it. But you said yes, and that yes gave heaven jurisdiction. So tonight, God is exercising his authority. He's not asking if you're comfortable. He's not waiting for you to feel ready. He's moving because the appointed time has arrived, and your readiness is no longer a factor. Your obedience already qualified you. Your endurance already proved you. Now comes the reward. But first, the surgery must finish. Type these words if you feel them rising in your spirit. I surrender to stillness. Not because you're weak, because you're wise. Not because you're giving up, because you're giving in. Surrender is not defeat, chosen one. Surrender is the doorway to dominion, and something is about to walk through that door. Something you've been waiting for since before you knew how to name it. Something heaven has been holding in reserve, stored in the vaults of glory, tagged with your name, dated for this exact moment. But you'll only receive it in stillness. The sign will be unmistakable. You'll feel it when heaven opens. Not later, not metaphorically, tonight. At exactly 11:50 p.m., something shifts. And those who surrendered to the surgery will be the ones awake enough to feel it. So the question is not whether heaven is moving. The question is, are you still enough to feel it when it does? You've been walking through darkness so long you forgot what your own shadow looks like. Let me tell you something they don't preach from the pulpit. Your suffering wasn't random. Every tear you cried in secret, heaven was collecting them in bottles. Every night you begged God to end the pain, he was building you into something the enemy couldn't recognize. You weren't being punished, you were being forged. The Bible says in Revelation 3:8, "Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it." But here's what'll wreck your theology. That door isn't somewhere out there in the clouds. That door is you. Heaven doesn't open to you at 11:50 p.m. tonight. Heaven opens through you. You are the gate. You are the threshold between time and eternity. You are the place where angels cross over into human history. Think about it. Why have you survived betrayals that buried others? Why are you still breathing after losses that would have killed weaker souls? Because God wasn't preserving your life, he was preparing his gateway. Your chest right now, that pressure you feel, that's the veil tearing open from the inside. Isaiah 60:1 commands, "Arise, shine, for your light has come." Not tomorrow, not next year, now. But let's get brutally honest for a second. How many times did you beg God to use somebody else? How many nights did you whisper, "I'm too broken, too tired, too ordinary"? You looked at your scars and thought they disqualified you. But heaven saw those same scars and said, "Perfect, now they're ready." Your isolation wasn't abandonment, it was consecration. While everyone else was building networks, you were being hidden in the cleft of the rock. While others were celebrated, you were being carved into a vessel that could hold the weight of glory without cracking. The alone seasons weren't punishment, they were preparation for a dimension of anointing that requires no audience but God. Here's the controversy nobody wants to touch. God doesn't anoint the qualified. He qualifies the scarred. Your pain gave you capacity. Your endurance gave you authority. The years you spent in obscurity, that was your seminary. Suffering was your curriculum. And graduation is tonight at 11:50 p.m. When heaven opens through you, everything shifts. Not in the sky, in you. Your words will carry weight they didn't yesterday. Your prayers will punch through atmospheres like battering rams. Doors that ignored you for decades will suddenly recognize your frequency and swing wide without you even knocking. That's not arrogance. That's what happens when a human being becomes a carrier of the open heaven. But it requires something from you right now. Not perfection. Agreement. You have to stop seeing yourself as a victim waiting for rescue and start recognizing yourself as the weapon heaven has been sharpening in secret. The enemy didn't attack you all those years because you were weak. He attacked you because he saw what God was building, and it terrified him. You want to know why November 12th at 11:50 p.m. matters? Because that's when the alignment completes. Heaven has been positioning spiritual constellations around your life for years. Angels have been moving chess pieces on boards you couldn't see. And tonight, at 11:50, the final piece locks into place. The gate doesn't just open, it explodes. And you're standing at ground zero. The veil is in your chest, and it just tore wide open. You felt it, didn't you? That rip, that release. Like something that was holding you underwater, just let go. You're not imagining it. That's the sound of prophecy becoming permission. That's the moment when decades of not yet collapse into now. So let me ask you something that'll either wreck you or remake you. What if the open heaven isn't a location? What if it's a person? What if you've been walking around carrying the very presence everyone else is begging God to send down? What if your next conversation, your next prayer, your next act of obedience becomes the hinge upon which someone else's eternity swings? You are not waiting for the miracle. You are the miracle. If you're ready, if something in your spirit is roaring yes right now, then declare it. Type it in the comments. I am the open gate. Let the angels record your agreement. Let heaven mark this moment as the night you stopped begging for access and started walking as the door. Because when 11:50 strikes, it's not the sky that changes. It's you. And everything you touch after this will bear the fingerprints of the open heaven you carry. But there's something else you need to understand about what happens after the gate opens. Something about the enemy's response and the warfare waiting on the other side of this blessing. Now let me tell you something. The enemy has been hiding from you for decades. You've been lied to. The world told you that your best years are behind you, that your time has passed, that at your age, dreams are supposed to shrink, not expand. They convinced you that gray hair means fading relevance, that wrinkles are proof of expiration, that retirement is just God's waiting room before heaven. That is a demonic doctrine straight from the pit of hell. Listen to me closely. Your age isn't your disqualification, it's your divine credential. Every year you've survived, every decade you've endured, every season you've weathered has been boot camp for this exact moment. Heaven doesn't call the qualified, heaven qualifies the called. And you, beloved, have been qualified through fire. Moses was 80 years old when God met him at the burning bush. 80, not 20, not 40. 80 years of desert wandering, failure, and obscurity before heaven said, "Now you're ready." He didn't lead Israel out of Egypt as a young prince. He led them as an old shepherd with a limp and a stutter. Why? because God wanted Pharaoh to know it wasn't human strength that broke those chains. It was divine power flowing through weathered hands. Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to Isaac. 90 years old. Her womb had been dead for decades. The doctors would have laughed. Biology said impossible, but heaven said, watch this. She didn't conceive in her youth. She conceived when everyone else had written her off. Why? Because when God does the impossible through you, at an age when it makes no sense, nobody can steal his glory. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she saw baby Jesus in the temple. 84 years of fasting, praying, waiting in that same building day after day after day. Most people would have quit at 50. She stayed faithful at 84. And she didn't just see the Messiah, she prophesied over him. She recognized him when priests missed him. Why? Because God reserves his deepest revelations for those who've been refined by time. Do you see the pattern? God saves his finest wine for the oldest vessels. Remember the wedding at Cana? Jesus turned water into wine. But here's what most people miss. The master of the banquet said, everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink, but you have saved the best till now. John 2:10. The best came last, not first, last. Your latter days are not your lesser days, they're your greater days. What's coming out of you now carries a flavor the world has never tasted before. Your wrinkles aren't scars of decay, they're rivers where his glory flows. Every line on your face is a testimony. Every ache in your body is a battle scar from spiritual warfare you survived when others surrendered. Your gray hair isn't a sign of weakness, it's divine electricity. Proverbs 16:31 says, gray hair is a crown of splendor. It is attained in the way of righteousness. Crown of splendor, not crown of shame, not evidence of uselessness. Splendor, majesty, authority earned through endurance. The enemy wants you to believe you're aging out of purpose. Heaven is shouting that you're aging into it. This isn't your final lap. This is your launch pad. Everything you've been through, every betrayal, every loss, every tear-soaked pillow, every closed door, every doctor's report, every funeral you attended, every moment you questioned, if God even remembered your name, it was all preparation. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared, refined, fortified, positioned. At 11:50 p.m. tonight, something ancient and eternal collides with your present reality. The timeline you've been living in expires. The narrative that said too old, too late, too broken, dissolves like mist before the sunrise. Heaven is cracking open your ceiling. God is about to do something so undeniable, so impossible, so sudden that you'll spend the rest of your life telling people, I can't explain it, but God showed up. Remember when I asked you at the beginning, do you feel that stirring? That wasn't curiosity, that was prophecy. That stirring you felt wasn't nostalgia for the past. It was your spirit recognizing its rebirth. You're not remembering who you were, you're becoming who you were always meant to be. If this word is burning in your bones right now, if something inside you is screaming, yes, I'm still here, I'm still called, I'm not done yet, then type, I'm still called in the comments. Heaven's register is open right now. Your name is being inscribed in real time. But here's what you need to understand as we move forward. This isn't just about you feeling better. This is about divine deployment. Heaven is about to release you into rooms you were barred from, conversations you were excluded from, opportunities that seemed permanently closed. And when you walk through those doors, everyone will know it wasn't connections that opened them. It was the Ancient of Days himself. You didn't find this message. Heaven found you. And if you're hearing my voice right now, it means something inside you refused to let go of what happened last night. At exactly 11:50 p.m. on November 12th, heaven didn't just crack open, it moved. The question burning in your chest this morning isn't whether it happened. You already know it did. The question is, what happens now that the sky stayed open? Some of you felt warmth flood your bedroom like liquid light. Others felt a stillness so profound it silenced every racing thought you've carried for years. But every single one of you, whether you understood it or not, was marked. Heaven didn't just touch you, heaven claimed you. This morning the air feels different, doesn't it? It's thicker, heavier, with purpose. Like God left the door to eternity slightly ajar, and now the atmosphere of your ordinary life is mixing with the frequency of the eternal. You keep looking around expecting something to be visibly different, but nothing looks changed. Yet everything feels rearranged. Your chest still hums with electricity because heaven didn't close when midnight passed. It moved inside you. Listen to what Scripture reveals in Revelation 4:1. After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. That door John saw. It wasn't just for him. It wasn't just symbolic poetry for ancient churches. That door swings open at appointed times for appointed people, and last night you walked through it whether you remember the exact moment or not. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. The real miracle isn't that heaven opened. The real miracle is that you never closed. You stayed faithful when faith made no logical sense. You kept praying when prayers seemed to evaporate into silence. You held on when letting go would have been easier, more rational, less painful. Why are you still here? Why didn't you give up 3 years ago when that door slammed in your face? Why didn't you quit when the doctor said those words? Why didn't you walk away when your bank account screamed louder than your faith? Because something in you deeper than your doubt, louder than your fear knew. You couldn't articulate it, you couldn't prove it, but you knew heaven had your name written in ink that doesn't fade. And last night, God confirmed what your spirit already recognized. Now let me tell you what's happening in the invisible realm right now, this very second as you listen. Angels are standing at attention around your life, not as decoration, not as religious symbolism, as enforcers. Psalm 91:11 promises, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." That command was issued last night at 11:50 p.m. The assignments changed. The guards rotated. New angels with new authority took position around your timeline. You think you woke up to an ordinary Wednesday morning? You didn't. You woke up to the first day of divine acceleration. Everything from this moment forward carries supernatural momentum. The conversations you have today aren't random. The phone calls coming this week aren't coincidental. The idea that just dropped into your spirit while listening to my voice, that's not inspiration, that's instruction. But here's the part that will either liberate you or terrify you. Heaven opened for you, but heaven also expects from you. The door swings both ways. You've been asking God for breakthrough. Now God is asking you for obedience. You've been crying out for miracles. Now heaven is requiring you to move like the miracle already happened. Do you understand what I'm saying? The waiting season ended last night. The preparation phase concluded at 11:50 p.m. You are no longer in the category of hoping it happens. You are now in the realm of walking it out. And walking it out means you can't live the same way you did last week. You can't think the same thoughts. You can't tolerate the same relationships. You can't accept the same limitations. The old frequency doesn't match who you are anymore. Heaven recalibrated your spiritual DNA, and now your life has to adjust to your new identity. If you still feel that vibration in your spirit, that subtle hum beneath your ribs that won't quiet down, type, "I still feel it" in the comments right now. Don't overthink it. Don't wait. Heaven watches through obedience, and your simple act of typing those words is a declaration that you refuse to let this moment evaporate into theory. Because here's what happens next, chosen one. Here's what the rest of this message will reveal. Heaven didn't open just to give you warm feelings and spiritual goosebumps. Heaven opened to download something. A blueprint. A strategy. A divine assignment that's been locked in the vault of eternity with your name engraved on it. And if you stay with me, if you don't click away, If you silence every distraction for the next few minutes, you're going to hear exactly what heaven released into your spirit last night while you were sleeping. The download has already begun. You woke up this morning, didn't you? Same bed, same walls, same ceiling. But something fundamental has shifted. The coffee tastes different, not bad, just hollow. The conversations at breakfast feel like they're happening underwater. Your spouse talks about bills, your neighbor complains about traffic, and you're nodding, smiling, but inside you're screaming, doesn't anyone else feel this? When heaven touches you, earth loses its flavor. Listen to me carefully. That disorientation you're experiencing right now, that sense that you're walking through a world that suddenly feels two-dimensional, that's not confusion, that's consecration. You haven't lost your mind. You've gained heaven's vision, and now everything that once satisfied you feels like dust on your tongue. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says God has set eternity in the human heart. But here's what nobody tells you. Once eternity wakes up inside you, time becomes unbearable. You can't go back to ordinary after you've breathed eternity. You can't pretend the small talk matters when you've heard the language of angels. You can't care about trivial arguments when you've stood in the presence of the Ancient of Days. That restlessness isn't rebellion, it's recalibration. You are a radio tower now, broadcasting divine frequency through a human body. And most people around you are still tuned to AM radio while you're transmitting in dimensions they can't even detect. That's why you feel isolated. That's why even your closest relationships suddenly feel distant. Not because you've changed your address, but because you've changed your altitude. The veil thinned at 11:50 p.m. on November 12th, and it stayed thin. Here's the truth they won't preach on Sunday morning. You didn't just experience a visitation, you became one. You are now the burning bush in your neighborhood. You are the pillar of fire in your workplace. People can't explain why they feel different around you, why they confess things to you they've never told anyone, why children stare at you in grocery stores and dogs follow you down the street. You're leaking light, chosen one, and it's terrifying and beautiful all at once. But let's talk about what nobody wants to admit. You feel alone right now, deeply, achingly alone. Not because heaven left, but because earth no longer speaks your language. Your friends are still talking about retirement plans and vacation destinations, and you're sitting there wondering how to explain that you've seen behind the curtain of reality itself. You've tasted the wine of another realm, and now everything here tastes like vinegar. Psalm 42:1 cries out, "As the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God." That panting, that desperate thirst, that's you right now. You thought the encounter would satisfy you. Instead, it ruined you for anything less than His presence. You're spiritually homesick for a place you've only visited once. Some of you are battling depression right now, and you can't understand why. You met God, you felt His touch. So why does getting out of bed feel like lifting concrete? Why do the colors seem dimmer? Why does laughter sound fake? Because you're adjusting to heaven's frequency while still walking on Earth's soil. Think about astronauts who return from space. Their bones are weaker. Gravity feels heavier. Light seems harsher. They have to relearn how to walk on the very planet they came from. That's you. You went somewhere your body wasn't designed for, and now re-entry is excruciating. The atmosphere of glory is thicker than the atmosphere of this world, and your spirit is still acclimating. But here's the prophetic word you need to hear. This adjustment period is not punishment, it's preparation. God is rewiring your nervous system to carry what's coming next. He's expanding your capacity, strengthening your spiritual lungs. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. 2 Corinthians 3:18 promises we are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory. Not instant glory, increasing glory, layer upon layer, wave upon wave. Each one harder to bear than the last, but each one bringing you closer to the fullness you were designed to carry. The loneliness you feel, that's the prophet's burden. The grief, That's intercession you don't have words for yet. The depression, that's your soul mourning for a world that's dying while you're coming alive. You are not crazy. You are becoming. If this is you right now, if the world feels too loud, too empty, too slow, too small, if you're reading these words and tears are already streaming down your face, comment, "Heaven changed me right now, not for me, for you." Say it out loud to the universe. Declare it to the algorithm. Let your confession become your activation. Because what happened to you at 11:50 p.m. wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of the unraveling and the rebuilding. And what comes next will require every ounce of this uncomfortable, lonely, glorious transformation you're walking through right now. You felt it, haven't you? That strange calm that descended on you 3 days ago out of nowhere. No reason for it. Nothing changed in your circumstances. The bills are still there. The pain still lingers. But suddenly, your chest isn't tight anymore. You woke up one morning this week, and something inside you had shifted. Like a door you didn't know was locked, finally swung open. That wasn't coincidence, chosen one. That was heaven's fingerprint. Let me tell you what's been happening in the invisible realm while you were just trying to survive another day. When heaven marks a date, when God circles November 12th on the eternal calendar, the entire atmosphere begins to shift before the appointed hour arrives. The spiritual climate changes. Angels move into position. And those who have been marked by suffering, they feel it first. You're not imagining the electric tingling that runs down your spine when you pray now. You're not crazy for noticing that the wind sounds different when you step outside, like it's carrying words you can almost understand. And those numbers 111, 222, 11 to 11 showing up everywhere you look. Your phone, the clock on the microwave, receipts, license plates. You thought you were losing your mind. No, beloved, you're finding your frequency. Jesus told Nicodemus in John 3:8, "The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear its sound, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes." So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit. That wind isn't random, it's coded conversation. Heaven is speaking in a language your spirit recognizes, even when your mind can't translate it yet. Here's what most people will never understand. God doesn't communicate to the comfortable. He whispers to those whose ears have been opened by tears. You know why you're hearing what others call silence? Because pain carved out space in your soul that comfort never could. Your suffering wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every lonely night, every betrayal, every moment you thought would break you, they were tuning your spiritual antenna. And now you're receiving signals others can't even detect. Let me ask you something that's going to shake you. Have you been waking up between 2:30 and 3:30 a.m. this week? Wide awake, heart pounding, mind suddenly clear. Maybe you had a dream so vivid it felt more real than your waking life. You saw faces you didn't recognize but somehow knew. You heard instructions you can't quite remember, but your body remembers how they made you feel. That's not insomnia, chosen one. That's the hour when the veil is thinnest. The hour when heaven downloads blueprints directly into your spirit. The rabbis call it the watching hour, when God walks through his garden, looking for those who are awake enough to meet him. You've been chosen for a 3 a.m. conversation with divinity itself. But there's more. Have you noticed how people keep saying the same things to you? Strangers in the grocery store. A text from someone you haven't heard from in years. Even a commercial on TV. Different voices. Same message. Words like breakthrough, it's time, you're closer than you think. You brush it off as coincidence. But what if I told you heaven uses human mouths as megaphones when you're not listening to the whispers? God is relentless about getting your attention. He'll use a child's innocent comment. A song on the radio that makes you weep for no logical reason. A bird that lands on your windowsill and stares at you like it knows something you don't. Nature itself bends toward revelation when heaven is trying to speak. And here's what's going to wreck you. That person you couldn't forgive, the one whose name makes your jaw clench suddenly this week. The rage softened. Not because they apologized, not because they changed, but because something supernatural reached into your chest and untied a knot you'd been carrying for decades. That's not therapy working, beloved. That's heaven preparing you for what's coming. You can't carry yesterday's chains into tomorrow's glory. God had to heal you before he could reveal you. The confusion you've lived in for years, the questions that haunted you. This week, answers started surfacing. Not loud, not dramatic, just clear. Like fog lifting off a road you've been trying to navigate in the dark, suddenly you can see 3 feet ahead, then 10, then a mile. Clarity is heaven's currency right now, and you're being paid in full. So here's my question to you, and answer honestly, because heaven is listening. When you walk outside and the wind touches your face, do you feel like it knows you? Like it's carrying a message meant only for your ears? Then whisper back, "I hear you, Lord." This isn't superstition, this is synchronization. You're tuning into the frequency of the divine, and November 12th at 11:50 p.m. is when the signal becomes unmistakable. But will you be awake to receive it? Now let me tell you something that's going to shatter everything the world told you about getting older. You've been lied to. They told you your best years are behind you. They told you to slow down, step aside, make room for the younger generation. They handed you a rocking chair and called it retirement. They gave you a gold watch and whispered, "Your time is over." But heaven never got that memo. Because while the world was pushing you to the sidelines, God was doing something else entirely. He was watching, he was testing, he was refining you in fires that would have turned others to ash. And now, right now, he's about to reveal why you had to walk through hell to get here. Heaven doesn't open for entertainment, chosen one. It opens for enlistment. You think this moment is about receiving a blessing? No, this is about receiving your orders. The same way soldiers wake up to reveille, the chosen awaken to assignments. And tonight, at 11:50 p.m., you're not being rescued, you're being reassigned. Listen to what Scripture reveals. Moses was 80 years old when God appeared in the burning bush. 80. Most people at 80 are planning their final years. Moses was being commissioned for his greatest work. He had 40 years in the palace, 40 years in the desert, and then when everyone else would have written him off, God said, "Now you're ready." The prophetess Anna was 84 when she recognized the Messiah in the temple. 8 decades of waiting. 8 decades of worship in obscurity. And in her final chapter, she became the first evangelist of the gospel. Her age wasn't a disqualification, it was her credential. Caleb was 85 when he said to Joshua, "Give me this mountain, not a valley, not a pasture for his retirement, a mountain, a battle." Giants still lived there, and Caleb said, "I want them," because he understood something the young warriors didn't. The older the vessel, the purer the oil. You see, the world values speed, but God values seasoning. The world worships youth, but heaven crowns endurance. You didn't lose your purpose when you lost your hair. You didn't lose your calling when you collected Social Security. You were being prepared. Every betrayal you survived, that was training. Every loss that should have destroyed you, that was conditioning. Every night you cried yourself to sleep wondering if God forgot about you. He was right there, building something inside you that can't be shaken. Your pain wasn't punishment. Your pain was boot camp for your purpose. And here's what makes you dangerous now. You've got nothing left to prove and nothing left to lose. You're not climbing corporate ladders. You're not chasing approval. You're not worried about what people think. That makes you the most powerful weapon in God's arsenal, a soul that answers only to heaven. You're not retired. You're refired. The same fire that tried to consume you is now the fire you carry. The same storm that tried to drown you taught you how to walk on water. The same darkness that tried to blind you sharpened your spiritual vision until you can see things others can't. God doesn't recruit the untested. He promotes the proven, and you, chosen one, have been tested in ways that would have destroyed weaker souls. You're still here, still standing, still believing, even when belief felt like foolishness. That's not luck, that's selection. So when heaven opens tonight at 11:50 p.m., understand what's really happening. This isn't a reward ceremony. This is a war room briefing. You're not being called to rest. You're being called to action. There are people only you can reach. There are prayers only you can pray. There are battles only you can fight because you've already survived what they're about to face. Your limp becomes their roadmap. Your scars become their instruction manual. Your story becomes their survival guide. The assignment is this: carry the light into places where darkness thought it won. Speak life into rooms where death has been whispering. Stand as proof that God doesn't abandon his soldiers in the fourth quarter. He unleashes them. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future, not a past, a future." Present, tense, active, still unfolding. Your future isn't behind you. It's breaking open right now. So here's your checkpoint. If you accept this reassignment, if you're ready to step into what heaven is releasing tonight, type "I accept the mission" in the comments right now. This isn't ritual. This is record. Heaven takes attendance, and your name is being called. The clock is moving toward 11:50 p.m. Your orders are being downloaded. Your mission is becoming clear. And what happens next will rewrite everything you thought was finished. Now let me tell you what they don't warn you about in Sunday service. The moment heaven opens over your life, hell takes notice. And it doesn't come with fire and brimstone like you'd expect. It comes disguised as exhaustion, as brain fog, as that strange heaviness in your chest that makes you want to sleep for 3 days straight, even though you did nothing physically demanding. You thought you were tired? No, you're marked, and the enemy knows it. Listen closely if you've felt unusually drained this past week. If old wounds suddenly resurfaced, if doubts you buried years ago came clawing back up through the soil of your mind, that's not random. That's strategic. Hell attacks what heaven activates. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. And the adversary is terrified of what's on the other side. Here's the pattern throughout Scripture. Every time God opens heaven over someone, the desert follows immediately. Look at Jesus in Matthew chapter 4. The moment heaven tore open at his baptism, the moment the dove descended and the Father's voice declared, "This is my beloved Son," what happened next? The Spirit drove him into the wilderness. 40 days, 40 nights, tempted, tested, alone. Why? Because after every open heaven comes a desert test. After Moses met God at the burning bush, he wandered 40 years. After Elijah called down fire from heaven on Mount Carmel, Jezebel sent a death threat, and he ran into the wilderness wanting to die. After Paul encountered the risen Christ on the Damascus road, he spent 3 years in Arabian obscurity before his ministry exploded. Do you see the pattern? Heaven opens, hell responds, the assignment gets activated, the opposition intensifies. And here's where the enemy is most cunning. He doesn't argue with what happened at 11:50 p.m. on November 12th. He whispers something far more dangerous. It was just emotion. It wasn't really God. You got caught up in the moment. You felt something because you wanted to feel something. That's the oldest lie in the warfare manual. The serpent didn't tell Eve that God didn't exist. He just made her question what God said. Did God really say? Same tactic, different garden. And he's using it on you right now. But let me ask you something that's going to sting. Why would the enemy bother whispering doubt if nothing real happened? Why would he waste energy planting questions in your mind if heaven didn't actually shift something in your favor? Demons don't attack empty territory. They attack occupied land. They attack what's been claimed. They attack what's been anointed. Your fatigue isn't failure, it's proof. Proof that you're shifting dimensions. Proof that you've moved from one spiritual altitude to another, and your body, your mind, your emotions are adjusting to the atmospheric pressure of a higher realm. Astronauts don't get weary because space travel is fake. They get weary because they're operating in an environment their bodies weren't designed for. You're exhausted because you're dimensional now. You're carrying a frequency that this fallen world resists. The enemy knows you're dangerous now, so he disguises war as weariness. He makes you think you're depressed when really you're deployed. He makes you feel crazy when really you're called. He makes you question your sanity when really you're standing at the edge of your destiny, and he's scrambling to pull you back before you step fully in. Here's what I need you to understand. Spiritual warfare in your 60s and 70s doesn't look like it did in your 20s. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's that voice that says, "You're too old for this. You missed your window. God used you back then. But this new move is for younger people." That's a lie crafted in hell and delivered through your own inner voice so you'll think it's wisdom. But God doesn't retire his generals. He repositions them. And you, right now, are being repositioned. If the enemy has been whispering doubt into your mind this week, I need you to do something radical. Right now, out loud, even if someone's in the room, even if you feel foolish. Open your mouth and declare, "I'm still chosen." Say it again, "I'm still chosen." Because your agreement determines your altitude. The moment you agree with hell's narrative, you lock yourself into hell's limitations. But the moment you break agreement and declare heaven's truth, you unlock the ceiling. You are not under attack because you're failing. You're under attack because you're ascending, and everything in the kingdom of darkness is mobilizing to stop your rise. But here's the thing they forgot. You've been through worse and survived. You've buried loved ones and kept breathing. You've faced financial ruin and still tithed. You've walked through valleys so dark you couldn't see your own hand in front of your face, and yet here you are still standing, still seeking, still believing. Hell picked the wrong warrior. So what happens now? What comes after the war in the quiet? Victory in the morning. Here's what most people will never understand. November 12th at 11:50 p.m. isn't the end of this story. It's the hinge, the door that swings both ways. Heaven doesn't just open once and slam shut. It cycles, it returns, and every time it does, it carries more weight, more power, more undeniable proof that you are not imagining this. The portal reopens, not because heaven forgot something, but because you needed to become something. Listen closely. Every clock on earth right now is ticking in perfect rhythm with a heartbeat in heaven. Your watch, your phone, that grandfather clock in your living room that's been running for 40 years, they're all synchronized to a frequency you can't hear, but your spirit absolutely recognizes. When your watch shows 11:50 tonight, the veil doesn't just get thin around you, it gets thin inside your ribcage, inside your bones, inside the marrow where your deepest prayers have been stored like seeds in frozen ground. Time bends again, not to repeat what already happened, but to reveal what's been hidden. You see, Psalm 30:5 tells us, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." You've had your night, decades of it, tears that soaked pillows no one ever saw, prayers whispered in hospital rooms, in empty kitchens at 3 a.m., in cars parked outside houses you once called home. That wasn't wasted weeping, that was seed planting. And tonight, at 11:50, the morning breaks. Not tomorrow morning. This morning. The one your soul has been waiting 70 years to see. But here's the twist. Heaven just whispered into my spirit as I'm speaking to you right now. This time, heaven doesn't open to you. It opens through you. You are the portal. You are the answered prayer someone else has been crying for. You are the miracle your grandchild is going to tell their grandchildren about. Think about it. November 12th falls right before Thanksgiving. Do you think that's coincidence? God doesn't do random. Thanksgiving is the season when gratitude unlocks what worry locked up, when praise breaks chains that logic couldn't touch. You're standing at the prophetic hinge between breakthrough and blessing, between promise and performance. Heaven timed this deliberately. Your alignment with this moment was written before the foundations of the world were laid. But let me ask you something that might sting. How many times have you been at the edge of your miracle and walked away because you didn't recognize the packaging? How many times did heaven knock and you didn't answer because you expected a door, not a whisper? How many divine appointments did you miss because they looked too ordinary, too quiet, too small? Not this time. This time, you stay awake. This time, you don't second-guess the stirring in your chest. This time, you trust the electricity running through your veins more than the doubt running through your mind. At 11:50 tonight, something shifts. Not just in the atmosphere, in you. The frequency of your faith recalibrates. What once felt like struggling will suddenly feel like flow. Doors that were welded shut will crack open, with a sound you'll feel more than hear. Relationships that were dead will breathe again. Bank accounts that were gasping will inhale. Bodies that were breaking down will remember their original design. But here's the assignment. At exactly 11:50 p.m., I want you to light a candle. Just one. Place it somewhere you can see it. And when you do, say these words out loud, not in your head. Out loud, I am ready. 2 words. But they carry the weight of every unanswered prayer you've ever prayed. They carry your yes to heaven's yes. They carry your agreement with the divine conspiracy that's been working on your behalf since before you took your first breath. And then, after you say it, I want you to share your story. Post it. Write it. Tell someone. Because here's what heaven just revealed. Testimony multiplies faster than time. When you speak what God did, you activate what God's about to do. You become the living proof that pulls someone else out of their night and into their morning. You are not the end of the miracle. You are the beginning of someone else's. The veil is thin. The clock is ticking. Heaven is holding its breath, waiting to see if you'll step through the door you've been standing in front of your entire life. At 11:50, everything changes. Not because heaven moves, but because you finally do. And when you do, the whole earth will feel the shockwave. Now listen closely, chosen one. Because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see the next 72 hours of your life. Heaven doesn't whisper in vague promises. God moves with precision, with fingerprints, with evidence so undeniable that even your doubting mind will have to bow to what your spirit already knows. And starting right now, this very moment, the evidence phase has begun. You've been waiting for proof, haven't you? You've been asking, God, if you're real, if you heard me, show me something I can touch, something I can see. Well, here's what they don't teach you in Sunday school. God answers prayers in patterns. Divine confirmation doesn't arrive as a single moment, it arrives as a sequence, a rhythm, a series of impossible coincidences that pile up so high, you can't explain them away anymore. In the coming days, you're going to notice something strange. Conversations will shift mid-sentence. People who haven't spoken to you in years will suddenly reach out not because they thought of you, but because heaven whispered your name into their spirit at 3 a.m. You'll open your mailbox and find checks you weren't expecting. You'll get phone calls that sound random, but carry the exact answer you've been praying for in secret. This isn't luck. This is orchestration. Let me ask you something that might shake you. What if the reason you felt so isolated, so invisible for so long, wasn't because God forgot you, but because He was clearing the stage? What if every person who walked away, every door that slammed shut, every opportunity that dissolved into thin air, was God removing everything that would have diluted your blessing? Because here's the truth, they won't tell you from the pulpit. Sometimes God has to empty your hands before He can fill them. You can't carry the new while you're clinging to the old. And November 12th at 11:50 p.m. was the cosmic release point. Heaven cracked open the vault. and now the evidence is pouring out like rain on dry ground. The Bible says it clearly in Psalm 126:5. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. Every tear you cried in the dark, that was a seed. Every prayer you whispered through clenched teeth, that was a deposit into a heavenly account that has been gaining interest for decades. And now, right now, you're stepping into harvest season. But let me warn you about something most preachers are too afraid to say. The evidence will arrive in ways that make you uncomfortable at first. That family member who wounded you deeply, they might call you this week. That friend who betrayed you, you might run into them at the grocery store. Why? Because God isn't just restoring your future, He's healing your past. The evidence phase isn't only about receiving blessings. It's about watching God rewrite narratives you thought were carved in stone. You're going to feel warmth in your chest that has no medical explanation. You're going to wake up at odd hours, not in panic, but in peace. You'll catch yourself smiling for no reason, and then you'll realize that's joy breaking through 50 years of survival mode. That's your soul, remembering what it feels like to be loved by the God who never blinked when the world turned its back on you. Here's where it gets supernatural. Within the next 7 days, you will experience at least 3 of these signs: a sudden financial breakthrough, an unexpected apology, a door opening in a place you'd given up on, a physical pain lifting without treatment, or a dream so vivid you'll wake up knowing it was a message. Write them down. Date them. Because when you look back 6 months from now, you'll see the pattern, the divine fingerprints all over your calendar, your body, your relationships, your bank account. God never moves without leaving evidence. He's not a ghost, He's a father. And fathers don't play hide and seek with their children's futures. So here's what I need you to understand. Your waiting season ended on November 12th at 11:50 p.m. You crossed a threshold in the spirit realm, and there's no going back. The evidence season begins now, not tomorrow, not next year, now. You're not hoping anymore, you're harvesting. You're not begging anymore, you're receiving. You're not surviving anymore, you're thriving. And if you can feel that shift happening in your bones right now, if something inside you just said, yes, this is real, then do this. Type in the comments. The evidence is here. Don't just read it. Declare it. Let that statement echo across every screen, every lonely bedroom, every quiet kitchen where someone is watching this at midnight wondering if God still remembers their name. The evidence is no longer coming. The evidence is here, and it's wearing your name. Chosen one. Before you close this message and step back into your life, I need you to hold on to 3 eternal truths. First, November 12th at 11:50 p.m. was not just another night. It was a divine timestamp, a moment when heaven synchronized with your heartbeat and declared, enough waiting. It's time. That moment cracked open something in the spiritual realm that cannot be closed again. You crossed a threshold, and there's no going back to who you were before you heard these words. Second, every single delay, every closed door, every silent season you endured, none of it was wasted. God was never absent. He was architecting. He was building infrastructure inside you strong enough to carry the weight of what's coming. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Third, the evidence is already in motion. Right now, as you sit here, angels are moving on your behalf. Conversations are being arranged. Resources are being redirected. Hearts are being softened. You will see proof within days, not because you're special, but because you're chosen. And there's a difference. But let me ask you something that matters more than anything else I've said tonight. Are you ready to stop living like you're forgotten and start walking like you're favored? Because that's the real shift. It's not just about receiving blessings. It's about believing deep in your bones that you are seen, you are known, and you are loved by a God who has never stopped fighting for you. You are not alone in this. Right now, thousands of others are watching this same message, feeling the same stirring in their chest that you feel. This isn't just a video, this is a gathering. A community of chosen ones who've survived what should have destroyed them. And we're standing with you, praying with you, believing with you. If this message touched something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Send it to that friend who's barely holding on. Post it where someone scrolling at 2 a.m. might find it, and remember, they're not forgotten. Your obedience to share could be the lifeline someone else desperately needs tonight. And before you go, do me a favor. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you're believing God for. Tell me what shifted in your spirit while you were watching. Ask your questions. Share your story. Because when you type those words, you're not just commenting, you're testifying. And testimonies have power. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Not for me, but for you. Because you need to stay connected to this frequency. You need reminders when the world gets loud again. You need a voice that speaks life when everything around you whispers death. Now, before we part, close your eyes if you can. Let me pray over you, not as a stranger, but as someone who's walked through the valley and knows what it costs to keep believing. Heavenly Father, I stand in the gap right now for every person hearing my voice. The ones who are tired, the ones who are scared, the ones who've been praying the same prayer for 20 years and still don't see the answer. Lord, I'm asking you no. I'm reminding you of your word, that you are not a man that you should lie. You said you would never leave us nor forsake us. You said the plans you have for us are good, to give us hope and a future. So tonight, God, I'm asking you to touch them, right where they're sitting, right where they're hurting. Let them feel your presence like a warm hand on their shoulder. Let them know, not just believe, but know that you are real, you are near, and you are working. Break every chain that's held them captive. Shatter every lie that said they weren't enough. Open doors that human hands have tried to keep closed. Restore what was stolen. Heal what was broken. Breathe life into dreams that flatlined. And Lord, give them peace. Not the kind the world gives, but the kind that makes no sense in the middle of a storm. The kind that steadies the heart when everything around them is shaking. Let them sleep tonight knowing they are held. They are covered. They are loved. In the mighty name of Jesus, who conquered death so we could conquer fear. Amen. Now go. Walk in that peace. Walk in that authority. Walk like someone who just got a phone call from heaven saying, your time has come. The evidence is here. Your season has shifted, and God isn't finished with you yet. I'll see you in the next message. But until then, stay awake, stay expectant, because something extraordinary is about to happen, and you were born for this exact moment.